Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Hutchins and I'm broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is Best Friends Animal Society. You can help me help them help the animals in two ways. First way, just watch my stream this month and bring your friends because I'll be making a donation at the end of the month based on my unique viewers count. You can also help a little more directly by donating to our fundraiser. Our fundraiser here on Twitch, which yesterday our wonderful Bigman 2K donated $20. That's double the goal we had, but we can always exceed that. So please donate if you're able. Today is Thursday, which means it's time for illustration work. Actually looks like this is a little overexposed or something. I'll change my camera a bit, maybe it'll calm down. We're working on this Summer Gryphon illustration and it looks like it's still just going to be super bright. Alright, that's fine. We are so close to done with the watercolor work on this. In fact, I don't know if I am going to do any watercolor work on it. I might just go straight to ink. Ink is the next step, but I did want to look it over, make sure that there's nothing else that I don't want to put a little effort into using watercolor. But this is getting pretty saturated too, so it's good to not take it too far, otherwise it can, how can I say, I'll use this as an example. I put so much paint on here and it just started having this weird light cast to it. It's like it couldn't handle more paint or something. So I've got to keep that in mind as I work with this watercolor. Let me change my camera a little bit. It's a tiny bit off there. Now it's straight. So what I was working on last time was creating distance between the farthest, we'll call them background sunflowers, the midground sunflowers, which is these four, and then the foreground sunflowers, these couple here. And looks pretty good. It's, let's see, I'm looking over at my secondary monitor here. I'm gonna pull it more towards me too. See if I can get a slightly different view, although it's hard because my lamp is like reflecting on the screen. This lamp here is reflecting on the screen over here. But being able to look at it at a different angle really helps them. Maybe I'm going to set it up like this, and then so you can actually see it. Oh, I see maybe why my main camera is being super bright, because I left my overhead light on, which I like to turn off during the stream so that my head doesn't cast an extra shadow. It does create a lot more light in here, so I put this little camera so you can see in the little camera. It's hard to point. It's a little tertiary camera. I have set this up, my illustration up, and I'm pushing my chair back. Whee! I'm going to scoot way back and have a look at this from a distance so that I can see what the overall effect is of the sunflowers, creating some separation. The colors still are really similar to one another. I wonder if adding a little bit more green to them would be better. As they go back in space, maybe having them being swallowed a bit by the green that's filling the background, but I don't want to lose them. So maybe this is fine. Just gazing at the image. So sorry there's like nothing going on in the main camera right now. I just want to see. I want to be able to see this. I've got my freshest possible eyes today. got a great night of sleep, so my brain should be all charged up for thinking about this. Yeah, maybe what I'll do is not using watercolor, but using digital media. Create a little more separation with some overlays, really subtle color overlays, separating background from midground from foreground, and then we'll get some more separation that way. Because as I'm looking at this, I'm like, I don't know, 10 feet away from, 6 to 10 feet away, I'm not sure, from this illustration. That's as far back as I could go in this room from and have it set here on my desk with nice lighting on it. I don't really see anything else I want to do watercolor on. I feel like everything looks good. Maybe I can add a little more black in some areas where it was lost because I then added more colors on top. So for instance, that big griffin in the bottom right, those black feathers on the edge of the blue feathers on the wings, we lost a little bit of that intensity. So that's somewhere where I might put a little bit more paint. And maybe in the closest sunflower in the bottom left, add some more really dark brown, so maybe even some black, to the center of the disc to help it be more differentiated from that griffin that's right next to it. Okay, let's do that. Let's just add a little bit more black to this scene to really bring the depth. Lower this camera and move this one back so it's actually looking at the illustration. Alright, so first I'm going to work on this, because this is all the way to the right. I'm left-handed, so that makes it much easier for me. I am going to wake up my black paint. Oh, Bigman2K, hello! Thank you for joining me, like, right away. Yay! How are you? Thank you for joining me 2 days in a row. Hope you're doing well today, having a wonderful Thursday. Okay, I'm just going to wake up this black paint. Oh, you can't really see it as well. Put the camera down. Now I got to bring it back up already. There we go. Whoop. Okay, so I'm just going to try to get a whole bunch of water onto this well of black paint. Wake it up and then apply it conservatively to various areas on this painting. And I think that's the last I'm going to want to do with watercolor. You can see the lovely, fun swirls of black paint filling my water bowl. There's a little bit of black paint stuck on the side here. Just seeing if I can move it, get it unstuck so that it moves down into the main pool of paint that I'm creating, but it's really stuck on there, so oh well, it's fine. We don't need too much, so I think I'll call this good. This looks really, I don't want to say vibrant because it's black. It's rich. The color looks really nice and rich, so I think that's enough already. I'm just tapping the brush on this angled edge here to try and remove as much paint as I can, because a lot of paint goes to waste in the water there. But it's not a complete waste because it's fun to watch it swirl, so here we go. the drips like smoke in the water. The drips off of the brush. Ooh, getting Halloween vibes. I know it's only September, but I'm ready for Halloween now. Just like at the beginning of November, I'm ready for Christmas. Yeah. So September is the start of Halloween season. And for me, it used to be October 1st is the beginning of Halloween. And no, it's starting to be... Nah, September is pumpkin spice season, then October is Halloween. And I have been eating the pumpkin spice. Been having some pumpkin spice bagels since last weekend. Got some tasty pumpkin spice bagels. Okay. I'm thinking about the tasty pumpkin things, and tonight we're making jalapeno pumpkin soup. I'm really excited. It's a recipe from the Spiritual Meal Planner, which is an online vegan recipe site, and it's supposed to be super easy and quick, so it should be great for a weeknight meal. But it's also sounds like it's gonna have amazing flavors, because pumpkin, of course, and then jalapeno. I never would have thought to put those together, even though it makes sense, because I think jalapeno and pumpkin both are Central American foods. I wonder if Google can answer it. Okay, Google. Where do jalapenos originally come from?
On the website sites.google.com, they say, the jalapeno is a cultivar of the species Capsicum annuum originating in Mexico.
Mexico.
Jalapenos are a pod type of capsicum. It is named after Jalapa, Veracruz, Mexico, where it was traditionally produced.
Okay, Google. Where do pumpkins originally come from?
On the website universityofcalifornia.edu, they say, scientists believe that pumpkins originated in North America about 9,000 years ago. The oldest pumpkin seeds have been found in Mexico and date back to somewhere between 700 minus 5,550 BC.
So yeah, even though I never would have thought to put pumpkin and jalapeno together, boom, both of those descriptions said Mexico, so this is going to be awesome. Central American soup. I'm looking forward to it. So this is a different kind of pumpkin spice because of jalapeno. I just realized that. This is awesome. Yay, I can't wait for dinner. A different kind of pumpkin spice. Wow. Didn't even cross my mind until now. And I've been looking forward to this, like, since I found the recipe last week. That's so funny. Different kind of pumpkin. I can't wait to share. Can't wait to share the meal. I've been sharing my meals on Facebook. On my personal Facebook. I can't wait to share it. This is a different kind of pumpkin spice. I'm totally going to say that. I'm just adding a little bit more depth using the black, and I don't really think there's anywhere else I want to use it. It's just a few touches on the feathers here, on these feathers, and on these feathers. Maybe a little bit more here to show that it's behind these other ones. Alright, that's good. I woke up so much paint and it didn't, hardly any of it got used, but that's fine, that's how it works. Oh, thank you, Bigman. Thank you, thank you. I think we're done with watercolor now. Time to move on to ink. Yay! Oh, that clicking noise is this camera when I lower it. Sometimes it clicks and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why. So here's what I did. The main thing I updated was these black feathers on the blue feathers. had gotten lost because I added more blue and then it just got washed out. And then I decided to update these two. They looked alright, but just to make sure that they looked even. And then I added a little more black to the lower edge of this wing, and then this wing that's on the other side. And similar marks here on the black feathers for this griffin. So that's pretty good. Dang, I gotta lower my lamps even further. Catching a shadow from my camera. Okay, move this back. Wait, move it forward. There we go. Sometimes it's really hard to visualize where this little camera should move. Alright. Wow. I knew it was quite likely that we'd finish with watercolor today, but I didn't think it would take only like 10 minutes. 10-15 minutes. Okay. Let me put my watercolor lid back on my palette and think about what color inks I want. Probably orange. We can add more fine lines. Oh, and I remember I wanted to add more black to here, but now that I'm looking at it, I kind of don't. What should I do? I just put my palette lid on. I can just take it back off. Okay, I remembered that one other spot I wanted to work on. We're not done with watercolor yet. But this, I want to keep it light. I don't want to lose this nice detail that I have. So we're just going to put boop, little dots here. Just to help make this center of the sunflower, I couldn't think of my words, look different from the griffin right next to it. I'm gonna do little ones as we move out. Okay. Alright, now I'm done. Now I'm done with watercolor. Bickman, anything fun going on for you today? Or just chilling out? Nice day off? We have another horrible fire burning in the area, so I'm like trapped at home because I'm not going outside when the air quality is this bad. It's so smoky and terrible. But I have a nice home, so it's not too bad to be trapped here. Okay, ink time. Well, I'll get out some black ink, orange. I have yellow too. Just hanging out and working. Oh, short week. Oh, are you in the U.S.? Did you have Labor Day off? That's always nice when you get that little extra day. Even though it was Labor Day, I still did work. So when I make my own schedule, it just doesn't, I don't just like take a day off like that. I take my own personal holidays all the time. Well, do I want any green ink? I feel like I don't really need green ink. Maybe blue though. Or brown. Blue and brown for the griffins. What have I got for blue? Ooh, this one's nice. Alright, this one. And, oh, but I've got this same brand. Oh, I like using the same brand. It feels really nice. Blue, what else did I say? Oh, brown. Well, the only brown I have is this. Oh, this one's orange. Windsor and Newton. I'm always using it. It has this little squirrel on it. Oh, you have a super short week then. So you have vacation and get Tuesday. Nice. So that's good. That's nice and refreshing. Super short work week. Do you mind if I ask what you do for work. You don't have to say. You don't have to share anything you don't want to. Just curious. Okay, so the inks I've gotten out. Dr. P.H. Martin's, and I always wonder about this because doctor, but then P.H. could also be Doctor of Philosophy. So am I supposed to say Doctor of Philosophy Martins or whatever? I just call it Dr. P.H. Martin's because it sounds good to me. But we got this waterproof India ink Black Star matte black ink. And then 3 from the same brand, their Bombay India ink line. I've got the orange, yellow ochre, and blue. Look at that. That's so pretty. Well, look at it. Looks like my painting, actually. Got these 3 colors. And I don't think I need any green ink. If I do, I've got green ink in my storage closet. And I've got this Winsor Newton nut brown ink, and I always think of these little squirrels on it. It's got these little, oh, it doesn't want to focus. Camera, maybe want to focus and show the squirrels? Thank you. I love the new camera focuses way better when I do something like this. When I'm like, I need brown ink, I'm like, I need the squirrel ink. But it's looking a little empty. So I might need to add some water to it. But we'll see. I might be able to reach. And I have the option of using a brush for the inks, but I like the ink to be even more fine than what I've been getting with the watercolor. So I think I'm going to get out my dip pens. My dip pen kit. Oh, IT for a software company. I used to work in IT. I was only at the lowest level computer operator. Like, we had a little, we were first aid for like every other department kind of thing. We didn't do very much. We did order entry. That was the one thing that was unique to us, but so that's cool. My brother works in IT too. He's a software developer, or what do you call it? I can't remember. He works in a really cool creative position where his job is being creative, making new stuff. Although he has been moving up and has more managerial, I don't know. Just saying, I have a lot of IT work in my life, either through my own experience or others. Well, which pen holder? I like this red one, but the yellow deleter one matches my picture. So what I'm doing is getting 3 pen holders because I have 3 types of nibs. Well, the main 3 types I like to use. I actually have more nibs than that. I'll show you them in the packaging. They're all the Deleter brand, which I got because all the mangaka use Deleter brand. And I was like, I want to be a cool mangaka. And then I tried making manga and I'm like, no, I don't want to make manga. It's really hard. But I've got these. Oh, the tops want to pop out of my hand. You can see that it says Deleter. Okay, I'll let them pop down. So I've got the Maru pen, which makes the smallest, finest line. G pen and the Saji pen. And I can never remember which one of these is the most flexible. One of these is super flexible. But I already have several of these out. And I think they're in this little, yeah. So this one, oh, this one's different. Here they are. Okay, so here's the Maru pen. Maru means round. Oh, this is actually a different brand. But it's the same thing. Wait, where's my Maru pen then? Where's my actual... Oh, and I have 2 of these. Nico. These aren't even the Deleter brand. What? Where did my Deleter ones go? Oh, whatever, it's fine. These are basically... but not the brand that I just showed you. Confusing. Okay. That's fine, though. Good enough. It's good enough for what I want to do. Okay, so pop this one into my deleter holder, which is cool because it has 2 circles in the middle. One is for the Maru pen, which is really small, and then one for these larger nibs, so they need a larger circle, so you can fit either one. And I'll put this one, oh, but you know what? One of them is not the same. I wonder where my other nibs went. Okay, hold on. Oh, I found one! Yay! The G pen, yay! Okay, so I'll put this one back. It was just sitting in here. Oh, look, here's another one just sitting in here. That's an actual Maru pen. Okay, there's no more. What the heck? It's so weird. Okay. So weird. Okay. Okay. So these are, this one is the not Maru pen. Ah! I can't get it out. No! Can't grab it. It's stuck in here. Alright. I'm just going to set that one over to the side. This one is the actual deleter. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but it actually says deleter on it. So I'm using the red nib holder after all. Yay. The one I wanted. Here's the G pen. Actually says G on it. I don't know if it can focus to show. Actually says G pen on it. It says G. But, oh, this one also has the 2 different sizes of circle in the middle. But I just like to, as you can see, get multiple pen holders since I have them from years and years of Art Snacks boxes mostly. And then, yeah, I think this one that says Nikko is the actual Saji pen, but they're basically the same even though the brand is different. So this one says Tachikawa. So it doesn't really matter, just pick one. Just pick one. Now I have the 3 nibs I want. The 3 manga cop nibs, which make me feel cool, and then also they're actually useful. So this is my favorite pen holder, nib holder, actually. But it only has, oh, it's hard to see that. There. It can only really hold pens that fit on the outside part here, so it gets one of these. It's getting the Saji pen today. Saji pen nib. I don't know what Saji means for Saji pen. Maru means circle, and as you can see, the nib is a circle. Like it just goes all the way around. These are like half circles. I don't know what G stands for either. I should look it up sometime. Saji pen, G pen. I wonder if it's just in my... It's time for a little bit of side questing. Saji pen. Ah! Doesn't say. Why is it called a Saji pen? Oh, there, it did it. Hooray. Oh, turnip. Kabura? Turnip? Huh. Saji. AI overview. Thank you, AI. It says a Saji pen is called a Saji pen because of its Japanese name. Okay, thank you. That's so useful. Spoon pen. Demo, why is it called this? Saji pen. What is the Japanese name for it? And it just says Saji. Like, here's this item for sale. It says Saji Nyumu. Whatever Nyumu is. Maybe if I search Saji. Oh, look, Kabura! And there was another question about it, and it was saying Kabura means turnip. Turnip pen. Sajinyumu. I'm going to search Sajinyumu in my dictionary. Sajinyumu. Okay, maybe nyumu. Doesn't come up with anything. Sad. I want to know about... Oh, I know what to do. Just go Wikipedia. Saji pen Wikipedia. Fountain pen. Okay, I'm going to go into Wikipedia. Go into Japanese. Nihongo. And search. Sa-ji. Ni. It was nyumu. Ni. Not ni. Ni. Little u with a long u and mu. Mommy mu. Ooh, saji nyumu. Okay, my keyboard knows what I'm searching for. Aluminium. Saji nyumu. Skip pen. Nyumu. What the heck does nyumu mean? Okay, at least I'm going to find out what. So maybe saji means turnip. Saji means spoon. Look at this. Spoon. Saji means spoon. It does kind of look like a spoon. Look at it. This is it. Like, whoop. Okay, maybe it means a spoon pen. Okay, what is nyumu then? Ni, you, long you, mu. Mommy, mu. No, that's who. Mu. Aluminum. Aluminium. I can never say it. Aluminium is how you say it in Japanese. Aluminum. So, aluminum tip, I guess. What about G pen? Why is it called a deleter G pen? Once again, AI, so helpful. Deleter G pen is a pen with a flexible tip that can be used to draw both thick and thin lines. The name comes from the pen's G pen tip. Uh-huh. Yes, wonderful. That explains everything. Oh. Oh well. Alright, I won't waste any more time on this. I was hoping there would be a simple answer. It's going to remain a mystery because we need to get back to work on this. So, let's start with, I got yellow, but I don't know if I'll actually use the yellow ink because I don't think it'll stand out much. Let's try the orange. So I'm going to remove the cap, which has a stopper, what is this called? Anyway, a suction thingy. I know what that's called. I can't remember what it's called though. Alright, and I'm going to carefully hold this ink in this hand because I'm always super paranoid about knocking it over. So I think after reading those definitions, those quote-unquote definitions of what the pen names mean, I think this G pen is the most flexible. So let's use the margin to do, yeah, look at that. You can get some really thick lines, but also really thin lines. Okay. Let's rinse that off. So you don't want your ink to dry on the nibs because then it just gets crusty and it's hard to draw. So now we'll try the Saji pen, and I'm pretty sure the Saji pen is the one I use the most because it's kind of in the middle of the Maru pen and the G pen. You can still get fairly thick lines, but as you can see, not as thick as the G pen. But you can also get super thin lines out of it, so it sits in the middle of the three. Okay, rinse that off. And the Maru pen is not very flexible at all, but it does the thinnest lines, super thin, fine lines. So you get a little bit of thickness out of it, but I think what the best part of it is you can get these super teeny, teeny, tiny lines. I don't think I'll need the Maru pen though. That's so small. Maybe, no, I don't want to add detail to those midground and background sunflowers. So let's just focus on these foreground ones with the idea of adding more detail because they're closer to the viewer, so more detail is visible. I'm going to use the Saji pen. I think I'll start by seeing if I can add little dots. Nah, it's not really going to make a difference, so let's... You can't even see once it dries, so instead, let's use this on the petals. Or they're not petals, they're rays. Even though I've been working on this for months, I still can't remember that. I still want to call them petals, even though they are flowers in and of themselves. We did all the research at the, just like I was researching the pen nibs, I did all this research into sunflowers at the beginning of this project. And we learned that what looks like the petals are actually flowers unto themselves. They just grow flat and into a single piece. And the parts in the middle are also flowers. This is awesome. I'm just enhancing the lines that I already had, maybe adding a little bit more in areas where there weren't any. So I can just use the watercolor lines as a guide, but using the ink with the more sharp line put down by the pen, you get really fine detail into here. Help it stand out. Plus the vibrant ink color helps it stand out too. I want it to stand out against the other sunflowers in the scene. I'm gonna have to move my page in a minute. Because with these kind of pens, you really have to pull it in one direction or it doesn't write. It's not like a ball pen or something where you can write in any direction and the ink will come out. Okay, so I'm going to carefully set my ink down. I have not, that I can remember, spilled my ink on my paintings or on whatever piece I'm working on. But I imagine what it would be like and the devastation, so I do my best. Always holding the ink jar. I have dripped ink, and that kind of sucks, because then you have this big blob and you can't get rid of it. You can reduce it a little bit, but if you're not careful, you could actually press it into the page more. So yeah, I'm always trying to be careful at the inking stage. Man, I didn't expect it, but at this rate, we might be able to start on some digital media, which is the final stage for these pieces in this series. And I do have several things I want to do for this in the digital realm. Oh, this is awesome! Yay! sound of the pen nib on the page is so satisfying. That sort of crunch. Turn this some more. Try carefully because my hands are full of the ink jar and stuff. Maybe I will try using yellow on these. But based on my previous experience, I don't think it's gonna show up. Ooh, it's so nice, so vibrant. All right, carefully placing the ink down. Because now I want to do the same thing over on this one. This is the closest to the viewer. So we definitely want plenty of nice detail in there. Maybe this is the one I'll try using yellow on and see what happens. It's nice to have some lines that they look like they go behind other rays so that they're not all perfectly avoiding one another. This is much more naturalistic to have overlap. It's another one of those instances like with the background where its effectiveness actually shows itself or is proven by people not noticing. It's the kind of thing where if you neglect to do that, people will notice like, huh, everything seems a little too perfect here, or something like that. But if it's effectively executed, then it won't be noticed. It's kind of like a good ninja. Good ninja isn't noticed. Just like with the other sunflower, I'm mostly using the watercolor that I've already laid down as a guide. Crackle. That's the sound of the pen on the paper. Crackle. Okay, setting down my ink, rinsing off my pen. And I do have to wipe it. It started to get a little stuck at the top there. Now I want to try the yellow ink, see if it makes any difference. If not, that's okay, but if it does, then all the better. My orange ink wasn't as mixed as I hoped, so I'm flipping this. I'll do it on screen so there's something happening. I'm flipping the bottle over. I don't always remember, but it's better not to shake because that creates more bubbles. And the bubbles mean you're like having to dip your pen through the bubbles so the pen gets all inky. And then sometimes the bubbles pop so that ink flies out and gets on stuff. You'll still get bubbles in it from doing it this way too, but just a little less. It's not as bad. Okay, that looks pretty good looking through the glass bottle here. So let's give it a shot. Opening it up and setting the dropper. That's what these are called, dropper. I don't remember what I called it before. Droppers. Okay. Death grip on my ink pot. Check. Let's see. Let's see if the yellow makes any difference. Thinking of using it in these areas where I've got the green shadow. So maybe the ink will show up nicely there. Well, it does show up, but it just looks... It looks very similar to the orange. Well, maybe I won't use too much of it. Now I've put some on, I want it to be consistent, so I'll put a little bit on each ray. So on the one hand, it was as I hoped that it would stand out, but on the other hand, it's not standing out in the way that I expected. It just looks like a slightly different orange color. Alright, that's all we'll do. It's one of those things with physical media. It can be surprising how it interacts with other physical media. But that's also why it's fun. I like that unexpected nature and the puzzle that comes with figuring out, okay, then this is how it works. What am I going to do with it? Okay, let's wipe that off. Where else do I want some ink? I do have this blue ink. I'm gonna lift this up again. I'm gonna do what I did earlier, which is put my illustration up. There. Like I said, the tertiary camera's looking at it. I'm putting my illustration up so I can scoot back. Oh, but the tertiary camera is covering it up. Don't cover it. There. Okay. So I can see what that effect is overall by scooting back. All right. I think we're good for the sunflowers. So next, so we have black ink. I don't know if I'll actually use the black ink. I got it out, but don't know if we need it. But the blue ink I thought might be nice for specific feathers. I haven't looked at my reference images this whole time. Oh, where are they? I've got to look over to my main screen, which is actually behind. Hold on. Let's move this way. There we go. Find the window that has... There we go. Now, where's my cursor? There you are. Jeez. It's tough because my setup is PC workstation here, physical media workstation, and live streaming physical media workstation here. There's a desk in between, and my main monitor is over here, and the secondary monitor switches between. So that means right now the secondary monitor is blocking the main monitor, and I needed to look at that. So that's what all that was about. Now I am scrolling through this awesome list of lazuli bunting photos, looking for where I might want to have some blue ink. This is the photo I used to see the wings outspread for this griffin here, which is the one I was really thinking of putting some detail on, or maybe this one right here. These two are actually closest to the viewer, but they're off in the corner, so I don't want to add too much detail to them because of their placement in the corner. So I'm going to look at this. This one, definitely, this is the main character here. There's no way. No way anyone else is upstaging this fellow. So, yeah. You don't want to... The feathers are nice and smooth for the most part, but there's some areas on the wings, similar to these little black feathers that I'm seeing, where there's some texture from the feathers rising or being lifted by the wind, because this image is the bird is flying. So let's add a little, I think this will be dark enough to show up. Looks pretty dark in the bottle. Okay, let's do the same thing. If I could get my lighting a little more even, but I've got to put it toward the bottom because the cameras cast shadow. I'm still trying to figure out this new setup, having 3 cameras. I didn't intend to have 3 cameras, but just over the many years I've been live streaming, I got an upgrade and got another upgrade, and so I ended up with the 3. So it's cool, but it's also a little puzzle figuring out how to make it work. 3 cameras, 2 lamps. Okay, hopefully this is mixed good now. Do the same thing, get this dropper out. Oh, there's lots of bubbles in because I shook this. Oh well, that's okay. Death grip, check. And my Saji pen. My favorite pen. The G pen is really fun because of how flexible it is, but I just so rarely end up using it. Okay. Trying to get through all these bubbles to get enough ink on here. I think I've done it. It looks pretty and inked. Well, I realize my camera's up high, but I'm just going to have to leave it because I'm doing this now. My hands are full. I'll bring it down in a second. Yeah, this ink is pretty good. Okay, let's set these down for a second so I can bring this camera down so you can see better. There, it's all the way down. All the way down. As far down as it goes. Actually, let's turn it this way. I love organic stuff like this because even if my lines are wobbly, which they are, it's fine because this griffin is flying, so the feathers wouldn't be perfect anyway. They would be all ruffled by the wind. That's why the toughest thing for me to draw is buildings, vehicles, etc. These things that are very sharp, specific in their shape, not very lenient. If you don't depict it in a certain way, it won't necessarily look how you hoped. But with organic things, you have more leeway, more wiggle room. So for the most part, I'm just adding texture with these lines. But it's also helping to add some shape. More ink. So I feel like this is really helping make this look like a back, shoulders, and wings instead of the sort of flat cross shape that it was until now. The head looks really smooth in my reference, so I won't add any lines on there. Probably because it's speeding through the wind, so there's not, it's all smoothed down by the air itself. So that probably means this griffin doesn't need any lines on it anyway. But these back feathers, as it goes down toward the tail, do look more ruffled. And since this is a griffin, the bottom half is the American water vole. And although I'm making the fur blue to match the feathers, it's pretty fuzzy. It just basically looks like a rat. This is a water rat. And I think that's actually another term for it, is water rat. So I'm going to add a little bit more down here because now I'm in the area where it's becoming the water vole fur instead of the lazuli bunting feathers. Of course, a bunch of this is probably going to get cut off when I make it to size, because this is going to be a 5x7. I had to think for a second. A 5x7 half-fold greeting card. Well, it's going to be printed as, I'm not going to fold this painting. Going to be printed as such, which means I've purposefully painted outside those dimensions so that when it gets trimmed to size, it will look really nice. I think that's good. Look at the close-up of, oh, my pen's running away. That's so much. That's a few dozen lines and so much more dimension. Yay! Okay, pen, stop trying to run away. You sit here. Let's get this blue off of here, and next I wanted to add brown. Although I gotta think about it, I might not need any brown. I was thinking of adding these similar feather texture marks. You can't see where I'm pointing. These feather texture marks. But this griffin is farther away. And look how much smaller it is. It fits only in this base of the head and shoulders of this griffin that's closer. We do have this one, so I'll look at a reference image of one of these brown lazuli buntings. See if there's any area where brown ink lines would be helpful. Where's brown one? Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, I forgot. Sometimes they put their little feathers up on their heads and it looks like a little, I don't know, mohawk or something. It's very cute. Let's see if I can zoom in on this image. Oh yeah, there is a little bit, at least on this individual, there's some area around the beak where we could add some more detail. Some ink has gotten stuck on my nib here, but it's up toward the top, so I'm not too worried about it. There's a little bit on the tip. Not too worried about it. I think it'll be okay. So now I'm getting my squirrel brown. It says nut brown, but look at this big row of 5 squirrels on it. I can never... And this ink always is crusty, so I'm opening it over the bowl of water. I don't know what the deal is. I'm not going to get this ink again, to be honest. Because it's always crusty. I think it's because it's shellac ink. Shellac ink. Shellac. Ink may be thinned with distilled water. I'm going to be honest. I never use distilled water. I just use water from the tap. Hasn't gotten moldy though. Okay. I don't know why it has to be distilled water. Maybe it's the minerals. Distilled water, I think, still has minerals. I don't know. I'm not an expert. Maybe it doesn't have minerals. Okay. So where I'm seeing this area where I can add the detail with the brown ink, it's right here where the feathers meet the beak, and this line, which I've already highlighted with watercolor, where the mouth closes, and then it continues down under the eye here and moves back and down. And then it sort of fades out, so we'll just do something like that. And maybe a little more detail around the eye too. And some back here. The back part of the eye. This is nice. This color of ink is giving that little bit of detail, but it's not standing out too much, so it's not a distraction, I don't think. Maybe it is. But it's looking pretty good to me. Just something to make this a bit more interesting, because as is, it was really flat and kind of boring looking. I think that's good. So I shall close this over the water as well. Boom. Okay, rinse off the nib. And I'll have to clean this properly with a nib cleaner, pen cleaner later. I've got a great little system. I can actually show you in theory what I do. I have this jar that I got from Sample Ink from Mido in a box. I just take this nib, take it off the pen, put it in here, pour in a little bit of nib cleaner, then sort of shake it until it seems like the ink has come off. Or if the ink is still not coming off, then I let it sit for a little while and take it out, rinse it with water. Boom, nice and clean. Okay. The final ink I got was black. I'm looking for any areas where I would want to use black ink, but we've got overall a nice level of black already thanks to the watercolor. And I haven't had the desire hasn't struck me on this piece to add any hatching anywhere. I suppose that's something I could do. I've done it on the previous pieces in this series, so that would help it meld with those other pieces. The area I keep looking at most is right here. This little foot looks so flat. But if I darken it up, it might just fade even further. At least it's, even though it's flat, it's still standing out a bit against the background that it's on. So maybe that's an area where I'll use a little tiny touch of black ink to give it a little bit more definition, or maybe this is an area where I'll do hatching, just do a little hatching around it with black. But I don't know how big of a deal it is. I don't know if it really needs it, because the way it's in shadow, maybe it would look pretty flat. I'm holding this up now, both so you can see the area I'm talking about, and so I can look at my OBS and see what it looks like in the screen, because that helps me see it a different way. I don't know if I want to add any hatching anywhere. I kind of like it. Kind of like it how it is. Could add some here, but if I did that on this griffin, then I'd want to do it everywhere. I could get the brown out and add more detail to the sunflower discs, but, so I'm thinking out loud here if that's not clear. I don't want to add too much detail on these mid-ground sunflowers, because I went out of my way to remove some detail so that they would stand back from the close-up ones. Oh, Bickman, thank you! Yay! Maybe that's a sign then. If you think it looks incredible, maybe that's a sign that we should just go ahead and move on from ink. Or maybe, okay, let's try a teeny tiny bit of black. We're going to do a little bit of black. I'm actually going to use my Maru pen, so this is as small as possible, just to help define the toes on this back foot, because they're looking kind of sad. And why am I trying to dip this in the water? Because I'm so used to watercolor. That's why. No, dipping it directly in the ink. We don't want to water it down. Okay. So we've lost the detail around the toes, but I don't want to do too much because it'll really stand out a lot, and I don't want it to stand out too much. Black is going to be really strong. Yeah, we'll just leave it like that. Just that one spot. It doesn't even bother me. It's a similar kind of thing happening here for this foot. But it doesn't bother me there. It was bothering me here. So there, leave that one. There. Okay. Oh my goodness, I got so much black ink on this. Did I get it on my hand too? No, I must have just got it from the jar. It's on the nib holder too. Oh, this one's gonna have to be cleaned with pen cleaner. So one thing I don't like about most inks, because they have these tiny little openings and you can't dip your pen in it, and I think the idea is you use the dropper to get the ink out, but I don't like that because then it creates waste. I hate waste because if you don't use it all, it's really hard to get it back into the jar, so then you just rinse it away. I don't like that. I want to use it straight from the jar. Oh well, anyway. Little complaints of an artist. Okay. We're not done with physical media exactly. Next step. Let's do scraping. I don't know if you'd call that media though, because technically media is the medium in which the pigment is carried, and scraping, there's no pigment involved, it's just a tool. Where's my favorite? Ah, here it is. So I always use, I was getting my tool out of my storage closet. I always use this plain old X-Acto knife. I keep it safely stuck in this champagne cork for storage. So we're just going to scrape away areas where I want highlight. Although I just realized, I think I'm going to use gouache here anyway. So basically, where I want highlight that is textured. That's why I stopped working on the beak, because I realized, wait, the beak should be smooth. So the beak I'm going to use white ink on. I love this technique. I can't remember exactly where I learned it from, but it was probably from my favorite watercolor book called The Complete Watercolorist Essential Notebook. I learned so much from that book, and I didn't even read it cover to cover. I just sort of perused it and gleaned cool ideas from it. So I think you can see, I'll hold it up so that you can definitely see. We've got that nice textured highlight on there now, and it's just from scraping off the colored paper from the watercolor and revealing the uncolored paper underneath. Let's do the same thing here. And it's really nice because it can do double duty in areas like right here where there was a little bit of dark paint from the beak coming into the area that's supposed to be the blue feathers. So I also scraped away that paint that was crossing that boundary, making the highlight but also cleaning up the boundaries between colors. Let me swipe. I need my swipey brush. Here's my handy swipey brush. I'm going to swipe these little bits of paper into the trash can. I really like to keep my workspace clean. Okay. So next, I think we're going to have the same thing that I've been describing for a while, which is that the most variety of lights and darks are going to be on the areas closest to the viewer. So this mid-ground stuff, I think I won't do any scraping. I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to keep the scraping on that which is closest to the viewer, because since it's closer, you can see those details, like little highlights and little shadows. So, that said, let's move on to the edges of the sunflower rays. It's hard to choose. The sunflower rays are actually fairly smooth. But right now I feel like adding the textured edge. And I'm not outlining per se. I'm keeping in mind where the light is meant to be coming from, which is to the top left and sort of behind everything. Oh shoot. I'm having such a great time. I just realized that it's well past my break time and I'm only doing a 2-hour stream, so after I finish this line, I'm gonna go take a little break and stretch. Okay, let me swipe these paper bits into the trash. Okay, good. Alright, I'm gonna leave this here. Plug my X-Acto into the cork for safety. And turn on my be right back sign. Take a little break, give my eyes a rest, stretch out my muscles. I hope everybody else will take the opportunity to do the same. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. everyone, I'm back. I hope you all had a great break. We've got, 37 minutes left to make progress on this piece. So let's see how far we can go. It would be awesome if we can finish physical media today, and then when we come back next week, we can just jump into digital media, which shouldn't take too long, and maybe we can finish this next week. That's so exciting because I've been working on it for so long. It's actually been really nice since I started my Imaginaturalist sketchbook project, which is a black and white ink drawing project, and it's much smaller in size. The format is just 4 by 6 inches. So I'm able to, through that project, create new illustrations that I can send to my patrons in between these larger, more detailed full color illustrations. And thanks to that, I am not always struggling with the pressure of feeling like I'm not getting these ones done fast enough, which means that I can really take my time and do my best work on them. So it feels super good. It feels so nice to not have the pressure of you've got to finish faster, you've got to finish it faster, because then that makes you think, where can I cut corners? So that's the only way to do it faster. I don't like to cut corners. I like to spend lots of time getting the details in there and thinking about what I can do. It takes time to think. Just thinking takes time. So even though I've been talking about seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, it's not like I don't enjoy the entire process of creating these illustrations. It's just ever since, and even before that, but especially ever since university, finishing my illustration degree, people literally, my mentors and teachers literally said, you need to work faster. You have to produce faster. They literally said those words to me, and it's sort of echoed in my head ever since and makes me panicky because my work doesn't go fast. What I want to make, what I enjoy creating doesn't come fast. So yeah, it's really nice feeling like I don't have to skimp on anything for this. I can really put my all into it. This is another place where I'm doing double duty with the scraping away color and line that I don't want here, and also scraping away just to get a highlight. Okay, I was just checking the small camera, the tertiary camera, to see if it was actually pointing at what I'm working on, and it looks like it is. Okay, let's swipe the paper away, see what the result is. That's really nice. Let me do a little bit more on these front rays here. think that's pretty good. It's hard to tell on the camera. I'll hold it up. It's still so subtle on the camera, you can barely tell. Yeah. You can see the highlights now. Camera is struggling with the white balance because the sunflower is so orange. Makes the image look super cool, but super cool as in cool color. Though maybe it's cool as in awesome. Alright, next let's do the same thing over here. Now, this sunflower is actually farther away. I'm counting it as a foreground element. Same as this one. But this is farther away. So you can see the rays are maybe half the size of over here. So I don't think I'm going to add scraping because it's really hard to control the size. It's basically got to be a certain width. And if I were to add it over here, I'd want it to be thinner. So instead of that, I'm just going to add a little bit to the griffin. And I think that'll help the griffin stand out against the sunflower that it's landing on, too. I'm not trying to just do super even all across the whole wing. I'm stopping some areas, skipping some areas. I think that makes it look more interesting. Alright, let's swipe this stuff away and then move along. I'm keeping in mind, move my inks over because they're getting in the way of turning this the way I need it to be turned. Keeping in mind the light source coming from over here, from behind. So I think the head might be casting a little shadow here, so we're only going to put highlights here, this half of the wing on this side. Alright, let's see what that looks like. Swiping off that paper that I scraped off. Ooh! Ooh, it's so pretty! Here, hold it up close. It'll probably confuse the white balance again, but... well, maybe not, because we've got both warm and cool next to each other. It's still struggling a little bit, but... yeah! Look at that, nice. Just touch of light. on the edges. Could add a little bit more going in. As if there's highlights happening even among the more shadowy areas. The light's still curving around and reaching it here and there. Here's a little bit of change I did. Mostly on the shoulder, a little bit on the head too. Ooh, I think that's good. Okay. Oh, we still have plenty of time. Plenty of time. So let's put this knife away for safety. I don't want to cut myself on stream. Not only is it dangerous to cut myself, I don't want to drip blood on my painting either. It's not that kind of painting. So next, I want to get out my white ink. I always think of using gouache, but my white ink is so more easily accessible. So much more easily accessible. So it's another deleter white. I got because I wanted to be a cool mangaka, but it's actually totally useful for all kinds of... I use it in almost all my physical media art, actually. The color's tough. That other bottle of ink. So, I'm going to topple this over, back and forth, swish it back and forth. But this white ink is always super thick, and what I end up doing pretty much every time is getting a little bit on my small palette and then thinning it down with water. So this water is all dirty. So I'm just going to get a tiny bit of water into my porcelain palette. I'm just gonna mute my mic. I'll be back in like 30 seconds. Boom, I'm back. Just put a little bit of water in that middle area. Put it there for now. Sit back down. Okay. This deleter ink also gets crusty, so I like to open it over the bowl so that any flakes can go in there. And yeah, I don't know if that comes across, but it's pretty pasty, and it always... I don't know why, but it's always like that. It's so old, I don't remember if it's always been like that, or if that's just because it is so old and I just keep adding water and adding water. Alright, so that's why I have this little stick here to mix the ink in the pot and also to get some out. This will probably be plenty. You do not need very much. That's cool. You can see the white billowing into the black in my water bowl. Just trying to rinse my stick off. So I just use the same stick over and over. I like to reuse stuff. Like I said, I don't like waste, so if it's reusable, I reuse it. That's pretty good. And I think I'm done with this. I'm going to close this over the water ball because the flakes always come out from under the lid. I don't know if you can see them, but there's some even floating around in there. Water there. Okay, I'm going back to my size 0 round brush. With the other inks, I like to use a dip pen, but this white ink just does not flow very well off the dip pen, so I use a brush. And since I do need to thin it out so much, I often put multiple layers on. If it dries and it doesn't look like enough, then I just put another layer right on top, and then it's more opaque and looks great. Okay, places where I want a little touch of white. So on the end of the beak here, I don't want to add too much. Just in areas where the light would be hitting and sparkling, dazzling our eyes. I don't know if you can hear that snoring, but Aoife is snoring. Aoife is my big dog. She's under the table over there. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. I don't want to add too much to the background, but just the tiniest touch on the talons here. Yeah, just so small, so small. Alright, this fellow, I think I'll just put a little dot in the eye. Oh, look how cute it is now. He's so cute now with a little dot of life in his eye. Looked like a dead zombie eye when it was just a black hole, but now there's a little hint of life. This fellow way in the back isn't going to get any because it's so far away I can't make a dot small enough. It might be too much on this beak, but I can bring it back digitally later. I'll put a little bit too much on here. Let's put the dot of life in this griffin's eye. Yes, so adorable. Becomes adorable. Put a little highlight on the beak. This is where I was originally going to scrape, but then I realized, oh, ink would be better because the beak is supposed to be smooth. Looking around for anywhere else I want to add white, touch of white, but I think that's it. Right, maybe this bottom beak, because it's a lighter color and it might be catching the light here, being open, singing. Yeah, let's call that good. Which means it's time for digital work. We still have 15 minutes. Oh, what can we get done? This is exciting. I'm so excited because I'm going to be able to send this to my patrons. I've been sending them updates every so often of how this is going because not everybody watches my streams. So I sometimes post my little work in progress photos there. Yes. Okay, so I am going to let this sit here for a second while I get my PC workstation ready. Doesn't take too much. I just need to move a couple things and turn on my scanner. So that's that noise. And move my planner over here. Yep, that'll work. Ah, and I need to move my keyboard and mouse back over to the PC workstation. Oh, these inks are in the way. There, I can't get my keyboard out. Nope, inks are still in the way. There we go. Whee! Okay. Got my keyboard, got my mouse, opening up the scanner software, moving my monitor, my secondary monitor, so that it's facing my PC workstation so I can actually look at it. Alright, excellent. So I will now switch to PC desktop. There we go. And grab this illustration. I think it should be dry. Does not take very long for that white ink to dry. But just in case, I'm going to set it down for a second while I move my mic over so that it's closer. Otherwise, I'm going to have to raise my voice for the rest of the stream. So I'm going to mute my mic for a second while I move it. Okay, mic is moved. Now, the first thing I like to do with my scanner is use my swipey brush to swipe off any hairs or particles that might be on there from previous pieces. And actually, I see like a little smudge or something from a previous piece. I'll try to get that off. I'm not sure what would have made this mark on here, but that's why I always like to check my scanner glass before I actually scan. I learned the hard way. In the past, I have scanned and then there will be like a big line in the middle of my image and I'm like, what the heck, what is that? And then there's like a hair on it or something on the glass. Okay, that looks pretty clean. I used the microfiber cloth to get that. I'm not sure what it was. Some sort of mark on there. Got that off. Now I'm using my swipey brush to swipe off any more little particles of paper or hairs from my pets or my paint brushes and dust whatever I can. That'll have to be good enough. Now I'm setting it on the scanner, closing the scanner. Actually, I want to line it up. There we go. There we go. Okay, smush that down. Let's do a preview. I'm adjusting my monitor while I wait for that to go. Okay. Wow, it looks so green. Alright, we're going to flip this. I might edit the colors. It's weird, the scan doesn't look how it looks to my naked eye. This should be enough. Ooh. Add. Okay, I'm going to have to do those digitally because I forgot that I had these little notes here to add Oh, add something to raise digitally and make sunflower stems fuzzy. Oh, but I'm not going to make the stems fuzzy because I decided not to have too much detail. Okay, good. I'm looking at these little notes I wrote on here. Okay. Scan. So this will take a little while because I scan, as you can see, at 600 dpi. That's dots per inch. That's a printing term. Dots of ink per inch. And by scanning super high, 300 is the, I guess you could call it industry standard for printing something that's been scanned, because then you can get a really good print. You can get a print twice as big as the original and it'll still look great. So scanning at 600 is like 4 times as big or something. Yeah, because 2 times 2 is 4. And I just do that for future proofing. So I never know. I never know what I might want to use these images for. I don't want to have to go through and rescan them, especially since I do so much digital work. I'm a true mixed media artist. I don't just use digital for cleanup and online presentation. I actually do a lot of stuff that you can just only do with digital. I don't know how to explain it any other way. Like adding everything that I think makes look good, I want to add it. 2 minutes remaining. And 9 minutes remaining in the stream. I guess I can open Photoshop while I'm waiting. See if my PC fans ramp up. They often do when I'm streaming and turn Photoshop on. You see these? Oh, there they go. What did I tell you? Okay, sweet. So we can close that, turn the scanner off, get my piece out of it. Just wanted to double check. Add lines to raise with digital. I don't think I need to do that because I added them with ink and they look great. Make sunflower stems fuzzy. I don't want to, so good. I'm actually going to leave this back in the scanner because the scanner will help flatten the painting. This is a little bit wobbly from the watercolor. Open with Photoshop. And we don't need any camera raw editing, so we're just going to open it. Yeah, for some reason, actually I'm going to take this painting out. Take the illustration out. It looks so much more green in the scan than it looks to my naked eye. It's so odd. I'll put my swipey brush away. Well, I think what I'll do is open, no, I don't want to open, cancel, I want to create new, and I do want it to be custom. I'm going to make the file that will be the, no, stop putting it pixels, I want inches. What the heck? The greeting card size, so 10 long, because it's half fold, so that means I need twice as long as what the final product will look like in the envelope. So 10 inches long, 7 inches high. But resolution, 72 is web standard. You should always do at least 72 for web, but for print, you want way higher. So let's just do 600, what the native image is. The native scans, RGB color, yes. And this is the thing, it used to automatically choose this. For some reason it stopped doing it and it's caused me all sorts of problems, but I'm just going to click working RGB. Okay, create. Alright, so now dragging this background layer from the scan into here. And we can close the scan, don't need that anymore. So now we're just going to, I thought we would, is a background layer. Oh. Copied as background. Alright, well then we make a new layer and we can turn that one off. Now we can move this around. Oh, it's actually not big enough. Oh wait, what? No. So I'm in the wrong one. I wanted to close this. Why didn't it close? Okay, here we go. That's why. I wasn't paying attention to what was going on. There, now we're going to center this as much as possible. There might be some little edges so you can see like little edges of paper showing through where I didn't quite paint far enough. I didn't quite paint far enough here, but it's interesting. I didn't paint far enough to the left and the right, but I painted plenty far to the top and bottom. Interesting. Okay, so this is as far as I went on the top, and it's cutting off a ton. So we don't want. Let's see. Yeah, I guess that'll have to be good. Yeah, I think that's good. And leaving this little bit of watercolor edge, that's fine. If nothing else, if it bothers me as I continue to edit this and work on this digitally, I can just use the Smart Fill or whatever it's called. It's called like, what is it called? Where is it? There's a, content aware fill, I think is what you want. Content aware, and then it will just fill in with, you know, stuff that makes sense. That's why it's called content aware. So, with 3 minutes left, let's first save this. So, we want to save it under visual artwork. And this is a project. It's my seasonal Gryphon greeting cards, which is so exciting because this is the last one. So 24, today's date. I named my files the day that I scanned them in, so 9/05. And this is Summer Gryphon. Boom. So that's saved. First thing, let's work on color and lighting. So I purposefully scan a little less contrast than what is actually on the image. And that's because I've found my scanner can take it too far if I choose other settings. And then darks are way too dark and you lose a lot of detail. So I just scan it this way, and then I can bring the darks and lights to where I think they should be. So like with the lights, I do want them to be really nice and bright, but I don't want to lose the texture of the watercolor paper. So I think this is about as far as I want to take it, because it's starting to disappear. That texture in here is starting to disappear, so let's leave that. And then the blacks, they're looking pretty good, and I don't want to lose these lovely areas where the black paint mingled with lesser amounts of black paint. But I do think we need to take it a little bit farther, just a little bit more contrast. There, look at that. And that also helps it look closer to what I'm seeing on the physical page. So maybe I won't need to mess with the color after all. Maybe it was just, my scanner is pretty good, so it's a professional art scanner. So I think that's why it didn't look right. It's just this contrast setting, which I have purposefully set, as I explained. Because now it doesn't look super green. I wonder why having less contrast makes it look more green. It's very, very interesting. I feel like I want to take the darks a little tiny farther. And I'm not losing texture like in here. So that seems pretty good. And then when I look at it over here, it looks, wow, astounding. Now I'm looking at the navigator and pressing preview on and off. And I keep doing it back and forth because I'm looking at a different area and comparing a different area. So like here, here, here. What is the overall effect? And also looking at this scanned image, and then to my right here, it's actually in front of my mic, partially, I'm comparing the digitized image to the physical image. Of course, the lighting of the room makes a difference. For instance, I have my window curtains open, and so lots of blue light is coming in, but all my lamps are warm light. So that makes a difference to how my eye perceives it, but yeah, I think that's good. And I don't think I'm going to change the colors after all. So let's save this. So we're actually over time. This is wonderful because next week, tomorrow's Chibi Friday, so I'm going to be working on chibi stuff. But next Wednesday, I'll come back and we can just get right into digital work. And I'll bet you we could finish this on next Wednesday. So I'm super excited. I'm so excited because I've been working on this for so long. Yay! But it is time to call it a day. So let's see who is streaming right now and who we can raid. Let's see. How do I... Okay. Twitch changed how things look. So, okay. This is easier. Oh, there's a couple people we haven't been to in a while. I guess let's go to Shroomvi, because Shroomvi only has... Let's click on Shroomvi on my phone and see what's going on. Because maybe Shroomvi is ending. Oh, yeah. It said stream is ending, so never mind. That's why Shroomvi doesn't have too many viewers. Okay, going back. So we haven't visited Yasmin Arts in a while. And they are streaming. Yay, let's go raid Yasmin Arts. /raid. And since I have it up on my phone now, I don't have to open a new tab to raid. Oh, it looks like it's just going to be me, though. It says there's only one viewer now. Everybody jumped ship. They're like, no, I'm done. I'm done for today. That's okay. I'll just go raid with me, myself, and I. Yasmin Arts. Make sure I'm spelling it correctly. Oh, Shump is here. Yay! Well, there'll be two of us then. I'm so glad. I wonder why it only says one viewer then. Because it always says one viewer because I'm always watching my own stream. Interesting. Yay! We're gonna both go over there to Yasmin Arts channel. Oh yeah! Now it says 2 viewers again. Okay, good. Hooray! Alright, that's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, and we're going to be working on Chibi Friday, the next Chibi food badge. So, I hope to see you then. For now, though, the raid's ready, so let's go! There we go. Hooray! There's 3 of us! Bigman2K was still there. Hooray! I wonder why sometimes it says only 1 viewer and then it seems like there's actually multiple viewers. Alright. If you're still here on my channel or watching the recording later, as I said, that's it for me today, but I'll be back tomorrow with Chibi Friday. Hope to see you then. Thank you for watching!